Hi, I'm James Canterbury, and I'm going to be teaching seventh grade science this year. And I'm looking forward to doing that because I get to do something really special. I get to teach a reworked class that I have done now for about the last 4 years, and I like to call it Mars Now. The standards that we'll be covering, of course, in seventh grade science come from the Ohio State Science Standards, but I've reworked them into a logical sequence that an astronaut candidate would encounter as they were studying to become astronauts. And I think that that is such an exciting idea that I decided to teach the class that way. So I'll give you a quick overview of what the class looks like, the curriculum, all the topics we'll be covering, and a little bit about how that's going to look when your student encounters it. So let's first go into the opportunity to see some of the places where I have gathered some of my inspiration. I always start with the standards, and we will teach the standards, but getting ideas from all of these great sources about activities and scenarios that the students can work through as they try to problem solve and learn about science in this fun and unique year-long story kind of way. So we'll be using project-based learning and taking my inspiration from all these great sources, including, I feel like I'm kind of covering his face right now, so let me move me out of the way. Commander Chris Hadfield, who is a NASA astronaut, has commanded 2 missions on space shuttles, has been to the ISS, written some books, and he's done a master class as well as even written some music and as a musician and tours. So he leads quite the life. I've gained a lot of wisdom and a lot of great ideas from these sources, and I know your kiddos are really going to enjoy what I have in store for them. One of the topics that we're going to learn about is the atmosphere, its composition, its properties, and right here on Earth. And then we're going to then apply what we know about the Earth's atmosphere to Mars, because our year-long exciting journey is going to be about us as a astronaut crew landing on Mars and living there for 1 year. So this is, though, a much more exciting and astronaut kind of way, astronaut training kind of way to learn that topic, to learn about the Earth's atmosphere and its structure and its properties. Instead of starting with vocabulary, then opening a book and start reading from the pages. Instead, I like to start the kids out when we start something new, when we start a new topic, I like to start them out with a scenario. It's a space training scenario like this one. You've just come inside the HAB after having been on the surface of Mars collecting rock samples. You've closed the airlock, and your digital readout on your spacesuit says the following: pressure at 0.08, oxygen at 0.10%, nitrogen is 4%, carbon dioxide 95.9%. Do you take your helmet off? Right? Well, we're about to learn about what the parameters are that would support life and why we have these things and what we're going to need to take with us to Mars, what conditions we're going to need that the Earth provides, that we'll need to replicate so that we can survive. Are these the conditions, the atmospheric conditions that let us survive here on Earth? We have to learn what they are first, right? And then we can have a better answer to that question. Do you take your helmet off, right? So that's something that, a little taste into how we do things. Now, here's how I break down all of those standards. All of the standards in red are physical science, all the standards in blue are earth science, and all the standards in green are life science. If this was taught the old-fashioned way, all the reds would go together, and then all the blues would go together, then all the greens would go together. But that doesn't make sense to the story that we're telling this year. So I broke down all the standards, and I reorganized them and rewrote them in a way, in a sequence that your students would encounter if they were in astronaut candidacy school. So all the things that we're learning in the first quarter are all the things we need to know before we launch, the pre-launch training. And then we launch the mission, so we are on our way to Mars. And those are the standards and topics we'll learn while we're on our way. And then over in the third column, that's the arrival on Mars. Well, now that we're here, we're going to have to learn these standards. Why? Well, we need to build a hab, so that means we got to live somewhere, right? And we need to have a greenhouse to grow our own food, and then we need to know how these plants survive and how they do photosynthesis and respiration. So we're going to grow plants here using some space-age technology right here in the classroom. And you can see all these different topics that are laid out in this fun and in this very creative way. Your students are going to build a lot. They're going to do many builds over the course of our class. And you'll hear about the projects and things that, or the materials that they'll need to get in enough time for them to be able to be successful. Kids are going to work a lot in groups of 4 because that's their Mars crew. I am mission control, they're the crew. And as far as that crew is concerned, there's no other crew around. It's just them and me if they need help. You can find all the grades and such using Infinite Campus, and all of our learning will be supplemented through the electronic learning management system, Schoology. You can get a hold of me, of course, by email at jcanterbury@wscloud.org or getting a hold of me right here at the school. I appreciate the opportunity to teach your little one. They're still little, even though they're probably too cool for school now, but I look forward to igniting their passion for something they might not have ever known they had a passion for, but by the time they leave this room, they will. They will be Martian astronauts, and they will have fed their entire school with the produce that we will grow in our classrooms. They will build things that will be tested, that will be allowed to be rebuilt, redesigned, and retested, and they will be successful. What they need to bring in every day is a readiness to learn and a suspension of the idea that if I don't get it right the first time, I must be a failure. They have to suspend that idea. NASA didn't put a person on the moon, a man on the moon, on their first try. And these kids won't get it right on their first try all the time. What's most important is a willingness to learn, an attitude that I can get it right as long as I have enough time. And if I don't get it right the first time, that's okay. It's just another step in learning. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you and your kiddo. Have a good day.